This is episode 4 of Going Beyond Spaces with Gala. And if you've listened to this whole mini season, then hopefully you've realized that holistic interior design is just another tool in our healing toolkit. So what do I mean by that? If you listen to the episode where I'm talking to Brenda or I'm talking to my wife about how we approached our home and the design of that, it's not traditionally interior design in that sort of bourgeois, uppity sense. It needs to look a certain way at all. It is really about what's going on in your life. What are the connections that you have to your things? Are they healthy or positive? And being very intentional about the environment you want to set up to support the life around you. So in that sense, it's kind of technical and kind of intuitive. And that's why I call it a holistic interior approach to design. It is having to do with design, but also with so much more. Once I began to study holistic interior design, feng shui, vastu, I got certified in well, and really dove into the depths of the connection between our spaces and us and how to potentialize them for more happiness, just more sort of life supportive spaces. It became really clear to me that there is a lack in understanding and knowing just how important that impact is on us. And we spend so much time as a society on biohacking, like the latest sleep gadgets and the wristwatches that monitor everything, and food and supplements and exercise and CrossFit. And then there's, this other one, SoulCycle. But we have nothing like that for interior design. And it hasn't been prioritized the same way that all of these other things have. And that just fucking baffles me. There's nowhere in that conversation how our spaces feel and how they look. And so, yes, your home could be on the cover of Architectural Digest and you could be wealthy as fuck, but you can be unhappy in your space still. Really, it's about getting in touch with ourselves, what we need, and then creating a space around that, at least when you're working holistically, which I think is much more powerful than traditional interior design that's just made to look nice and also is for a select few people. So what I like about holistic interior design is that you do not need to buy expensive furniture or art or anything like that. It's really about taking the money that we have, having a good sense of the tools that we can use to create a supportive space, and being very intentional about our selections, whether that budget's $100 or $1,000. I was recently just in Jamaica, and I was at the Rockhouse Hotel in Negril, which is a very special destination. It is built into the cliffs. It was built originally by two people that had worked with Frank Lloyd Wright. And so it makes sense that that division between indoor and outdoor living is blurred. So these huts, sort of speak, modern huts, are built into the rocks. The pool is built into the rocks. The restaurant's built into the rocks. You're literally on the water. You are surrounded and engulfed in nature. And the feeling of well-being that brings myself and then everybody I talked to that was there, no amazing penthouse on the 35th floor of New York City designed to the T could bring the same amount of joy and feel-good alignment. So going back to how those huts were designed, the floor is the same stone that the rest of the property is that comes from nature. Everything was made of wood. The roof was made of wood and then covered with the sort of, I think they were dried palms. It was a very simple, rudimentary room, but it didn't influence me poorly or in any type of way. It didn't feel less than because I was surrounded by such beauty, which was nature. And so we really don't need these super luxury, perfect homes to feel good. One of the things we can do is root ourselves in nature. And then the furniture and the art you choose kind of falls to the wayside if you're surrounded by like a great view or you're in a great location. And now I'm going to flip this concept on its head about not needing much if you're in nature, because the majority of the world's population lives in cities. So yes, you can go to the park, but it's not the same as being immersed in nature, like the experience that I just explained in Jamaica, where it was literally everywhere. It was overtaking me. So think of somebody in New York City. Rents are very high in a small studio space. And so in that situation where maybe you have a view outside, but you're seeing sky or another building, it is even more important in these city settings to get our spaces right so they're supportive, because we are disconnected from nature, which is such a natural power booster. It sounds so silly, but just think about how you feel when you're walking on the beach or going on a hike in the forest versus how you feel walking into an office or a doctor's office. There's a very different feeling there. So if we can capture some of that and bring that into our spaces, it's really, really going to help with our well-being. That's just one really basic human aspect of holistic interior design. But beyond that, it's really just about choosing things that support you and that spark joy and being intentional in every single choice that we make. The same way that we're intentional about the food that we eat and the vitamins that we take and the medicines that we take. I think everybody has the right to have access to a well-designed, supportive, healthy, and intentional space. And that is what I want for everybody. But for that to happen, there needs to be an awareness around how our spaces affect us, and then a change to make every single space, I'm talking from Penn Station to the subway to corporate offices, feel good for people. It should be a right, just like access to food is, access to good air, all of those basic things. I hope that you found this season helpful as I talked a little bit about holistic interior design and the 12 different tools that you can apply when approaching designing your space from a holistic perspective, as well as hearing from my client Brenda and just how eloquently and beautifully she connected the things in her home and how they affected her or what they meant. And then also bringing you into my home with my wife, what worked, what didn't, what we did for various reasons, and just seeing that it's just not about design and beauty and function, but it's about so much more when we think about how to design our homes and offices. I hope that this helped you think about your spaces differently and hopefully inspired you to make positive change.